Wow. I was enjoying that. Where can I get a CD at? You guys like gifts? You guys want to have a little fun today? Everybody got their shades? Who's got their shades? See, the reason that we wear shades is because our future's so bright, right? We know the Lord, and our future's so bright that we got to wear shades, right? All right? Let's start it like this. When I say let me go, I mean let's go get it. A giant in the game like Klesko's fitted. You just don't get it. My squadron of guardsmen go 8 for the truth, though I ain't cool with Darwin. We came from monkeys, that's funny like Marlon Wayans. When God comes back, it's a problem. I'm evolving from sinner to sainthood. I leave an outline right where the game stood. For his name's sake, I had a romance with the street. Life turned out to be a hell date. Matter of fact, turned out to be a jailmate. Street life before 18, that's jailbait. Listen, I need the whole nation to stand up and show him more love than a Michael Jackson fan club. Let's keep it black and white like a panda. Christians on the set, but we not Ned Flanders. Let's go. Give a hand for DJ Rock G's on the ones and twos. Yeah! Here we go! Yeah! Yeah! Everywhere I go. And it ain't funny. I wanna sell some records, but it ain't about the money. Well, maybe just a little. I got babies at the cribbo, a mortgage on my shoulder, so please listen to my demo. This message can be played inside a hoopty or a limo. The spirit is my artist, the Bible's the instrumental. I'm signed to the kingdom of God, nothing fancy. Got peace plus salvation, he advanced me. The street, see me calling me, wants to romance me and leave my death a mystery like Tom Clancy. Picture that. Christ is my answer like the SAT. All them Christian dudes for real, oh Lord, yes they be. Living life like I'm gonna die any minute now. Hot like a stove, yet I will never simmer down. Feel like Kobe Bryant, soul's gotta win him now. I am on my WrestleMania, the beat I beat it. Yeah. The beat I beat it up. Turn me on, let's beat it up. And I'll show you how I run this race like it's the Breeders' Cup. And I'll show you how I seek his face like dermatologist. My God is anonymous, totally preposterous. Spiritual psychologist, haters wanna body me. I'm living in destiny, your life is a lottery. I give him my best and he shakes me up like pottery. On the truth, we got the monopoly. Pardon me. Everywhere I go. Get clear. See, everywhere you go. Get clear. They wanna know, who do you stand for? Get clear. Who do you represent? Get clear. Do I have any soldiers for Jesus in the house? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, everybody put the shades on, because the future's so bright. All right, here we go. 101. 1, 2, 3, let's go! Oh! Hey! Hey! I ain't never met a man that get down like this, He ain't even tripped when Judas tried to kiss him. Tried to set him up, had the feds him up. He just played right along when he really should've missed him. He was all God, but he never acted cocky. Palm Sunday rolled in like a jockey. Everybody cheering, it was such a good feeling, but he thinking to himself, these the ones gonna cast the demons out like he's throwing out the garbage. Had 12 disciples and he's throwing out the knowledge. Yeah, many teachers knew the law, he ran through them all like he teach theology at the college. It would be a step that would got the whole thing on. Die for his pride, though we ain't gotta bring on. Then he rose up so people grow up, cause we all gotta meet him in space like a thing. If you ain't nosy alive, we gon' watch him shine when sinners like that. I got my shades on cause the future's so bright. I got my shades on, the future's so bright. If you ain't nosy alive, we gon' watch him shine when sinners like that. You got your shades on cause the future's so bright. You got your shades on. people how to come up, rise like the sun up. First of all, fam, put the gun up. See, I'm on a mission. I push these drops like an expedition, and I ain't even warm up the engine. This was my decision. Yeah, I'm a full-time Christian, and now I need a break like intermission. Lights, cameras, action. This is not American Idol. Idol hip-hop is severing everybody. I do hip-hop that'll splash you like a title. Wave if you love him, and the devil is your rival. Yes, Lord, send me. I'm in between O and S, I'm on P. My intuition sharp like a razor. Sin is so major. I fight evil like a Brendan Fraser. Back on the scene, homie, don't call me Deja. Boo, I rap God, man, what it do? This is a little bit more than that. Spring the truth for the cross. Nah, can't hold you back. You don't need a Mac. You don't need a bio. Just a contest. The Holy Messiah. You can log in, you can log in, you can log in, you can. You don't need a BlackBerry or iPod if you want to get on contact with my God. You can log in, you can log in, you can log in, you can log in. He's not on MySpace, not on Facebook, not on live chat. He's a live jack in the valley low, in the sky high. No strings attached, he's so Wi-Fi. He's like a satellite and track you like GPS. You can feel him moving while pushing your CTS. His eyes on you like the logo on CBS. Cause life ain't sweet and I don't live on PBS. And I ain't Grover, I'm a soldier. If this is Vice City, game over. The only reason you winning because we ain't show up. These rappers like the jihad when these lanes blow up. What rappers do for the fame, make me straight throw up. You ain't heard nothing, wait till the Saints roll up. I'm coloring the track like a paint roller. With the Father on our side, we got the game. So you don't need a Mac, you don't need a bio, just a contact. Say this, say this. Messiah. You can log in, you can log in, you can log in, you can log in. We don't need a BlackBerry or iPod if you want to get in contact with my God. You can log in.
Oh yeah.
You can log in.
Oh yeah.
He's the gateway, never compact. Do you need it there where the Holy South at? I'm from up north, I am New York.
Right.
I ain't Rick Ross, I got a new boss. And when he killed the cross, I got a new floss. That made me handle the track like a new boss. You can log in, username master, and you can ask Joe, what's the password? You don't need a Mac, you don't need a bio, just a contact. Let me hear you say. You can log in, you can log in, you can log in, you can log in. Okay, you don't need a BlackBerry or iPod if you want to get in contact with my God. You can log in, you can log in, you can log in, you can log in. Hey, let's go. Anybody survive in this place? See, every single day when you live this life for Christ, we survive in ideologies and beliefs.
I'm a warrior.
They try to murder our Jesus.
So let's go.
But let's go. It's like this. You couldn't kill me even if they tried. Not that I won't die, but when that bullet hit me, I'll be caught up in the sky. Just read every person just to tell my granny hi. So what that really mean is that it's good to be alive. Zipping through your hood with my lady in my ride. It feels good to have a real woman on your side. Cause these hard struggles that we facing is scary like me and Jason. And the nearest home is more than 30 miles. I've been through more struggles than a little bit. Had a gun pulled on me, didn't have the heat, so I was frozen like an idiot. Dude pulled a trigger and the bullets dropped out. That was enough, your boy got out. Yeah, you can front like your muscle all big. I got 2 kids, so my hustle's all in. I'm a survivor, I will find a way like MacGyver. Jesus Christ the only. I'm a survivor. I can take the fight. Say, I'm a survivor. I can hear y'all say, I will not run. You might win some, but you just lost one. Can't Jones like this.
If I had no food, I'ma find a way to eat. No pillows, no bed, I'ma find a way to sleep.
In the middle of the blizzard, I'm the one that bring the heat. If you don't want to hear it, then you better not play the beat. I trip from like a cat, gon' stay up on my feet. And never forget my friend, give a shout out to my feet. And I'm sown when it's hard, so then gonna read. And I got don't slaughter, so line,
My faith is tall like the Empire State, and I believe I can take the entire state. For Jesus, heal all cancer, AIDS, and seizures. Girl, you a believer? You used to be a skeezer. Jesus, the one that turned water into wine, and he's the one that turned all of my pennies into dimes. Hey! Yeah, so you might as well start clapping.
Let me hear you say,
I will not retreat.
I can't hear the saints of God. Say,
I will not quit.
hey, say it again. I will not run. You might win some, but you just lost one. Let's go.
Let's go.
I am a warrior, no fear. And if I get scared, so what? I don't care. My God is right there. No, he's not my crutch, but he's fourth quarter Peyton Manning so clutch. You say he don't exist, he's imaginary, but his track record says he's more than legendary. Life for God is beautiful like Victor Halle Berry. He wants a full commitment, but you barely acting married. I'm on my Mary, dancing off my shackles. Fetters get severed, I break them like a tackle, sever like a toothpick. I use the devil to go to another level, so he's not totally useless. Yeah, he's now totally toothless, free like a bee that's now totally ruthless. I'm a survivor, I will find a way like a llama, overcome the odds like I'm Obama.
I will not retreat. I can take the fight.
Say!
I will not quit.
Faith next to fear. Say! I will not run. You might win some, but you just lost. So let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Say, I'm a survivor. Let me hear you say, I'm a survivor. Let me hear you say, I'm a survivor. Let me hear you say, I'm a survivor. Praise the Lord, y'all. All right. Now that we got that out of our system, everybody feeling good? All right. If you guys want to stay up here, you can. If you want to sit in your seat, you can. You want to sit on the floor, you can. Don't come off stage, because I Rock don't play. Give a hand for DJ I Rock Jesus, y'all. Guys, I had the privilege to travel pretty much all over the world doing what I do, in and out of youth groups and dealing with teens in and out of detention centers and stuff like that. And I've been doing this for a pretty long time, and you know, it's been a blessing, man. I really enjoy what I do, and not only do I give out a lot, but I learn that much more. And the one thing I want to talk to you guys briefly about is, yeah, you can do that. The one thing that I want to speak to you guys briefly about is about the reality of God. And a lot of times, coming to youth conferences, and youth getting revved up for the Lord and dealing with issues and so on and so forth. And the one thing that I constantly battle, especially today, I find in most youth, is I find myself not so much talking about Jesus and the cross, and I do that, but I find myself proving the reality of God. Because the reality is that every single day, somebody at your school, somebody in the grocery store, it could be even at your house, is battling you with the reality of God. Is God even real? A lot of times growing up in church, like I did, you kind of just take for granted that God is real. And then when somebody comes to you and they test you on that, you have no answer. Your testimony is wonderful. And telling somebody Jesus died on the cross is excellent. The Bible tells us to do these things. But sometimes we have to learn how to prove God and prove the existence of God with the tools that we have right in front of us at times. Because you know what? There are Buddhists and there are monks. They say they got healings too. They say they get peace from God too. They say God answers prayers and does all the things that we're doing. So why are we Christians?
amongst all these different religions and different things that are presented to us, beliefs and ideas. And so why are we Christians? Why do we serve Jesus? How come we don't serve Allah? How come we don't serve the fat Buddha statue? You know? How come we don't buy into some other belief system or ideology? Is it because your parents are Christians? And so you're a Christian? So you come to a conference like this and you do these things, so this is what Christians do? I believe that's why the stat, I believe Sean said earlier, I forget the stat, if it's 70 or 80% of you guys, by the time you get to college, will have dropped your faith. Because a lot of times our faith in God is based on this. It's not based on just being a Christian. The one thing that I do is I do music mentoring, and I have a music mentoring program that I run. I have a recording studio and a couple different businesses, but the one thing that I love doing is music mentoring. And I bring a lot of kids into my studio that have a lot of different issues and so on and so forth. And we train them in music, and we mentor them through the music, through the recording studio, through production, so on and so forth. And when I'm there with them, I'm not, and most of the kids are unsaved. And when I'm there with them, I'm not trying to find a way to Christianize them. And I'm not trying to find a way to talk about Jesus with them. I'm trying to be me as a Christian. So when a certain topic comes up, I don't talk about it because I'm a Christian. When a certain thing is said, I don't laugh because I'm a Christian. See, when the Bible talks about letting your light shine and you being the salt of the earth, these are things that you see and taste, not certain things that you hear. And I think so many times we think that Christianity is all about what people hear from us. You know, talking Christianese, like our speaker said earlier. You know, maybe wearing a big Jesus shirt. My father tells a story. This is so embarrassing, man. When my dad was growing up, he was a geek. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Anti-swag, right? He was really geeky. And he grew up in like a real legalistic church, you know. And what a legalistic church means is that they believe that if you do certain stuff like pants and jewelry and stuff like that, it means that you're godly. And if you do some other things, it means you don't godly with your pants. I mean, we have to be mindful, but and so his church made him go to school. Imagine this, right? Imagine you show up in high school. It's a Tuesday morning, right? Get off the bus, you get dropped off. Go see your friends, see your enemies, see your teachers, colleagues. His church forced him to wear a Christ is the answer button. It was big and it was red and it was this big. So he walked around the school with a Christ is the answer button. He got beat up, all right? Needless to say, he got beat up. Sometimes we think that our faith is like that our faith is walking around with a Christ is the answer button, when the reality is people want to know who Christ is in you. They want to know who Christ is in you. Yeah, I like playing video games and I like doing this, but you know, I don't do these things because my life is submitted to God. Yeah, I like talking about sports and so on and so forth, but if the conversation goes there, I don't do that because my life is submitted to God. Well, here's some of the things I do like doing. Yeah, this weekend I'm going here and there, and it's normal. Your Christianity should be normal. I know the world makes you feel like you're abnormal. And so you don't want to talk about Jesus in school. You don't want to say the word Jesus in school. You don't want to say the word Jesus on the basketball team, the cheerleading team. You don't want to say the word Jesus when you're skating. But that's what the real life of Christ is about. And why do we do that? I think the reason that we do that, I think some of us have a hard time trusting in God. And to be honest, I think some of us have a difficult time believing in God. We all can believe in God, but very few of us can put trust in Him where we say, okay, God, I'm going to do what you said. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm a little scared. But, hey, I'm trusting in you. You said it's going to happen. You said it's going to work this way. You said my friends will come to Christ. Or you said whatever God has spoken to you or whatever the Bible has said. Okay, God, I'm going to put that trust in you and I'm just going to go with it. That's what trust in God is. I think a lot of us have some belief in God. And some of us, our belief in God is shaky. We came in here with our belief in God being shaky. And we'll leave here stronger, but then what happens 6 weeks from now? Because without a strong trust in God, then your belief in God gets shaky. And then when the many ideas and voices, you don't know what to believe. How many people feel like when they go to school or they watch TV, they hear, and be honest with me, just raise your hand. You hear so much stuff that sometimes it's difficult to know what to believe. Put your hand up. Okay, that's real. Keep put your hand down. You hear so many voices. You watch a show and they're doing a different thing. But you were taught that, maybe in your household, in your church, or whatever the word is saying, you were taught that maybe I shouldn't be dating at this time. And then I watch a show, and there's a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old having a date and having their first kiss. And you were taught something different. That's two different belief systems. You were taught not to, you can't go out this far to this person's house, or you can't engage in these activities, or you can't so on and so forth. And then you watch other things, and they're doing it at a younger age to a greater extent. You're like, why do I even believe what I believe in? That's the battle of the belief systems. And here's the thing. I want to go over some things, and these things are kind of simple. But if you don't understand what you believe in, I had a cousin, and she's become a Hebrew Israelite. I'm not gonna get to the whole details, but it's a mess, right? And she was a Christian, and so her mother was sitting there, my aunt, and we were going over this conversation about whose belief is correct. Is Jesus right, or is the Hebrew Israelites right? And this is not the real Hebrew Israelites from the Bible. This is like they believe in something totally different than Jesus. And so me and her are having a very good dialogue, because she doesn't believe in Jesus Christ and some of the different tenets of the faith. And so me and her, I'm working her up. But the only way I can work her up is to understand my faith. And I'm not just talking about Jesus died on the cross. That's the basis of what we believe in. I'm not talking about just that. And I'm talking about just your testimony. That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. But why did Jesus have to die on the cross? To cleanse of our sins. But why did he have to bleed? Why? Couldn't he just been like, sins forgiven, have a nice day? Why do you have to suffer and die? What did that whole thing mean? Can you break that down to me? Can you really explain that to me? Or if somebody comes up and says, why you're a Christian? Well, Jesus died for my sins. That don't even make no sense to me. I'm not a Christian. I don't speak Christianese. What are sins? What does dying have to do for sins? Why do you have to shed blood for the omission of sins? What does that even mean to me? Can you break that down to me? Can you explain to me, without the Bible, how do you know God is real? Can you do that? See, the reason not a lot of us here, prayerfully, but the reason a lot of young people that are your age lose their faith when they go to college, because these are the questions they can't answer. They go to, man, look, I was a full scholarship player. I was the second best wide receiver in New York State. And when I went to college, I was a heathen anyway. I wasn't saved anyway, all right? I was wild. When I went to college, man, there's a lot of stuff out there. You think high school's crazy. There's a lot of stuff out there. And if you and for those who think that their faith is the surest, you better really understand what you believe in. You really better understand what you believe in. You really better understand why we serve Jesus Christ. You really understand what Christianity, what being a disciple of Christ is about. Because when you get to somebody and they ask you why you serve Jesus, and you give them your testimony, you might be talking to a Muslim. They'd be like, well, Allah did the same thing for me. I know a lot of, I grew up in New York. There's a lot of hoods and thugs in Brooklyn. And there's a sect called the 5% Nation of Islam. And the Nation of Islam took these thugs and put them in suits and bow ties and had them looking good, had their lives cleaned up, quote unquote. So they came to me and they said, hey, man, why you serve Jesus? Man, he cleaned my life up and saved me from drugs, and all that stuff is great. I'm not knocking any of that stuff. That stuff is great. He would have said the same thing to me. Allah did the same thing to me. Well, Jesus Christ died on the cross and for my sins, well, Allah sent his prophet Muhammad, and Muhammad gave us the so on, da-da-da-da. Now where do we go? All right, well, have a good day. There has to be a deeper understanding. You are in the information age, man. You have information at your fingertips. You are smarter than I ever was at your age. Let me get to a couple of different things real quick. First thing is, and I'm doing this to, I guess, somewhat educate you, but I also want to do this so that you can have some answers. This is not going to be exhaustive. I got like 20 minutes. So, but I want to share some bits and pieces that you can actually go back. And guess what? When you have questions about your faith, it's a good thing. God can handle your questions. It's a good thing. Go on Google. You're on the computer anyway. You're on Facebook anyway. Just open a new tab and go to Google. And ask these questions. Type these questions in. Google these questions. Ask some of your leaders maybe about some websites like rzim.org or calm.org or some of these websites that actually deal with, it's called apologetics. Being able to defend your faith. Because you can't defend your faith, you're going to get run over. You can't play defense, you're going to get run over. All right? First thing I want to get into is, how do I know God is real? The first way we know God is real, obviously, is faith. Right? Faith is more than just belief. It's trust. Okay? Faith is more than just belief. It's trust. All right? You might believe that I'm a good guy, but you really don't know me. So you might not trust me to hold your $10. You know what I mean? I'd come back with a whole bag of candy. Get that candy from $10 I already had. A lot of us believe in God, but we don't trust in God. You ever seen that? That exercise where somebody stands behind you? You got to close your eyes and you got to fall back, right? Now you believe there's a person back there, right? You back there, Jenny? Yeah, I'm back here. All right. So I believe you're back there, but I don't know if I trust you enough to stay there, because I might end up asleep. Okay. So obviously, this is the thing that we learn is about the faith in God. And that our faith is really a trust in God. It's a belief. We feel God, we worship God, we experience God. Sometimes we don't see God physically with our eyes, but because of our experiences and our testimony and our relationship, we put trust in these things, right? But you know what? I think a lot of times we think that some of the things in the world are opposed to the things in the church. But things like science, we think, well, there's no way we can scientifically talk about God because, our faith in God is all faith. There's no scientific evidence that God even exists. Well, did you know that there is scientific evidence that God exists? Did you guys know this? One of the evidences, and this is just one of few evidences is geneticists. Now these are secular people saying this stuff. These ain't Christians. They ain't believers saying this stuff. Secular people are saying this stuff. They conclude that every person on earth right now can trace his or her lineage back to a single common female ancestor who they call mitochondrial Eve. Now this is a secular person saying this. Because remember the theory that we all came from monkeys? Everybody remember that one? Right? We was all, aw, monkeys, they're so cute, I know. Remember that theory? Well, secular scientists are now saying, guess what? We went and did a test, and it seems like everybody, black, white, Asian, Latino, they all come from this one person. What does that sound like to you? Adam and Eve, right? Sound like Adam and Eve to you. Wow, that's some pretty scientific evidence there. How about this one? There's this physicist named John Polkinghorne, big physicist, and deals with all this type of knowledge that Look, I could even begin to talk how he talks. This guy is brilliant. But he says stuff like this. He says that if the tilt of the Earth's axis were not precisely 23.5 degrees, life on Earth would not be possible. Our Earth is tilted perfectly, almost like somebody did it on purpose. I'm just saying, almost like somebody was like, how'd that look? A little to the right. How'd that? Perfect. That's not a mistake. Any degree to the right or to the left, this earth is not livable. How is that an accident? If I took some dice, matter of fact, if you guys were outside and I took some dice and I spelled the movement, right? Back to the future, rewind to the future. And you walked in here and you said, You saw it in like dice, or not dice, what am I talking about? Domino. Something blocks, something that has letters on them. I'm old. So it says the movement, rewind to the future. What's the first thing you would say? Cool. It's hot. It's hot, man. Huh? That's what it's called. True. Give me the answer I want, please. Who put that there? Who put that there? You want to say, those blocks spontaneously combusted and formed the movement. Rewind to the future. Makes sense. See you guys later. You wouldn't say that. You'll say, who did that? Our earth is on the exact axis, perfectly. Oh, that just happened by mistake. Nah, man, somebody did that. Somebody was up to something. Lastly, science states this one fact, all right? You and your friends get into a debate, and there's this whole Big Bang theory, right, that this bang happened, and we were little Nemos. We went from Nemo to a monkey, and, we went from a monkey to a caveman, and so on and so forth. Let me ask you a question. In order for Big Bang to happen, and Big Bang talks about there were gases and different materials that blew up and formed this earth. Can somebody tell me where the gases and materials came from? Jesus. Jesus. Better preach. Somebody said the sun. Where did the sun come from? Don't say God. Say something else. Sun came from gases. Where did gas come from? You don't know, huh? Alpha and Omega. Okay, simple principle. Nothing from nothing equals nothing. You can't have something from nothing. Something doesn't come from nothing. This is a scientific. This is not in the Bible. This is not like scientific fact. Milk just can't appear on the scene. There has to be a cow. And then the cow has to come from somewhere else. And then wherever that comes from has to come from somewhere. You're always looking for the first cause. You're always looking for who started it. So how foolish is it? See, you go in school and they tell you the Big Bang Theory and this came from whatever, and then you're all nervous like, well, my church says that we all came from God. My church says we all came from God. Well, guess what? Who's the foolish one now? Now it's like, hold up a second. I learned that we came from God. Teacher, science says that nothing comes from nothing. Can you explain the Big Bang? Where did the gas and the matter come from? Your turn. You feel what I'm saying? The testimony is great. I have an awesome testimony of what God saved me from. And talking about what Jesus did for you on the cross is wonderful. But when you get these questions, how do you answer them? And what you don't know is you have more ammunition than you know. You have more ammunition to win the world than you know. This is not hard. We do these outreaches and we think this stuff is hard. This isn't hard. I want to get in a conversation with you about God. I want to talk to you about where we come from. I want to talk to you about the origin of life. I want to talk to you about our purpose here. I want to. Here's what's crazy about it. We get scolded because we have faith in God, right? Y'all believe in something that y'all can't even see. Y'all believe in something y'all can't even see, right? Well, I would go to a science and I would say, okay, you believe in the Big Bang Theory, okay. And the Big Bang came from matter and came from gas, okay. Where did matter and gas come from? Well, I guess they were here eternal. Hold up. Sounds like faith to me. Were you there to see that? Not really. Okay, so you got faith in rocks and gas, and I got faith in God. Let's start there. Let's start there and let's see what makes sense. You feel what I'm saying? You have more ammunition than you know. I took a earth science class when I was in college, and I'm reading it, and I'm going through it like, okay, I'm getting it, okay, the sedimentary rocks, and then I got to the end, and then it was like, the origin of life was like, well, I think it kind of happened this way, but we're still checking it out. Still doing some research. I mean, think about it. This whole time they told us we were coming from monkeys, and now they had to revise history. Oh, yeah, we made a mistake on that monkey thing, the baboon thing. Yeah. We actually did come from one woman. We're not going to say it's from the Bible. We're not going to say that. We're not going to go that far. But we're going to call her mitochondrial Eve. We just pulled that name out of nowhere. Sometimes you just be like, man, just get saved, man. It's just easier, all right? Just get saved. All right? So the reality of God, we know by faith, we know by science, but we also know by logic and common sense. If you look, the reality of God is obvious, and Romans 1:19-20 says this. They know everything that can be known about God because God has shown it to all of them. God's eternal power and character cannot be seen. But from the beginning of creation, God has shown what these are like by all he has made. That's why people don't have any excuse. You know why people don't have any excuse at the judgment when God comes? Because he's shown himself. Just look around, man. Look at the seasons. I live in Virginia, man, and the birds there are beautiful. And it's like clockwork. Spring comes around and the birds show up, man. It's beautiful, robins and blue jays and all that. It's a beautiful thing. Look at how our seasons change and shift. Is this accidental? Did this just happen? It's funny, people make fun of us because we believe in the Holy Spirit. We believe in something that we can feel, but we can't see. Air? Anybody? Air? I mean, these things are not, it's simple. It really is simple if we take time to really develop and learn and understand our faith and learn how to defend our faith. Everybody has a conscience, right? You have a conscience, right? I know these are big words. You have a conscience, right? So if I cracked open your brain, can I see your conscience? But we have a conscience, right? And we have a subconscious, right? This is all scientific stuff you learn in school, but if you crack my brain open, you can't see my conscience. Something that we know is there but can't be seen. So does the Holy Spirit seem so far-fetched now? Does the Holy Spirit seem so ridiculous? A God who comes in an invisible form that empowers a people to do a work for him, that transforms their life. When you hear somebody like Tim's life and you hear the things that he's gone through and you see that he's a brand new man, that doesn't happen from psychology. It doesn't happen just because he woke up one day and said, I want to change my life and I want to, stop doing bad stuff. No. Something has to happen. Something has to cause these things to happen. The reality of God, man. My God is real, man. You can't prove me otherwise. It's harder to disbelieve God than it is to believe God. Move to my second point. Why should I trust the Bible? Here's what I love about the Bible. The Bible is so honest. First of all, the Bible depicts life more accurately than anything or anyone else. Okay? The Bible depicts life more accurately than anything or anyone else. Okay? Ecclesiastes 1:8-11. Ecclesiastes is one of my favorite books of the Bible. It's just so real and raw. You know what I mean? And listen to this. This is what Solomon says. And if you feel this way, sometimes when I'm done, just give me a jazz snap, okay? You feel this way, okay? Listen to this. Solomon says this: all of life is far more boring than words could ever say. Our eyes and our ears are never satisfied with what we see and hear. Everything has happened before. Ain't nothing new. Nothing under the sun. Someone might say, here's something new, but it's happened before, long before we were born. No one who lived in the past is remembered anymore, and yet everyone yet to be born will be forgotten too. Ain't that real? How many people, and see, y'all are in this. I asked my daughter was like, Daddy, did you used to play basketball? When you were little? I said, yeah. She said, on the Wii? I said, no, actual real life, like real life basketball, not like on the Wii, not this thing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all generation, y'all get bored easy, boy. How many people get bored easy? You get bored really easy. Solomon said the same thing. Man, sometimes life is so boring. Nothing is new. And this is why we get into stuff, because we want to get to new stuff. We want to do new things. We don't know what's happening. We want to get new updates and what's fresh and what's happening. Solomon says, you know what? After a while, even that gets old. Anybody have a Wii? All right? Who's had their Wii for more than a year? Okay, you had your Wii for more than a year. All right? When you first got your Wii, were you excited about it? You're happy about it, right? And now that you have it, you got some new games, and it's just a Wii now, right? Just a Wii. Now you want the Wii 2 or the Wii 3. There's no such thing. You want the Wii duh. That's the French version, all right? So the Bible depicts life more accurately than anything else. Secondly, the Bible depicts people more accurately than anyone else. No matter what book you read, no matter what religion the Bible breaks apart the human heart. Like if you really want to understand life, read some Psalms, read some Proverbs, read Ecclesiastes. He'll describe to you. That's why people come up to me. I had this one dude come up to me, one of my youngins, and he smoked weed, he drank, you know what I mean, and he got some issues. And I'm like, man, you need to change your life around. He like, man, I'm trying to get put on, man. I'm trying to rhyme with Big Sean, and I'm trying to do my thing, man. I'm trying to, Big Sean is his rapper, sound good music. I'm trying to do so and so forth. I said, man, that's not going to happen for you. How you know it's not going to happen, man? Because I read the Bible, and the Bible tells me what happens. If you do these certain behaviors and you act this certain way, this will happen, period. And time again, it proves to be right. And I told my master, my dude, if you keep doing this, you're going to jail or you're going to be dead. You're not signing a contract. Man, you don't know that. You don't know that. I say, you know what? I don't know that, but I read something that gives me a pretty strong guess that I might be 99% right. It tears apart the human heart and shows to us more accurately than anything else. Listen to this. Proverbs 5:13-14 says this. Somebody, if you feel this is true, just cough. Okay? If this is true to you, just give me a cough. I'm sorry, we don't cough this way. We do this. Okay? All right? Proverbs 5:13-14 says this. I paid no attention to my teachers, and now I'm disgraced in front of everyone. I mean, that's the Bible. Some of y'all didn't study, and man, y'all got disgraced when y'all went home. Y'all got really disgraced. This one's a little touchy, but I still want to read it. Proverbs 6:32-35 says this. But if you go to bed with another man's wife, you will destroy yourself by your own stupidity. You will be beaten and forever disgraced, because a jealous husband can be furious and merciless when he takes revenge. He won't let you pay him off no matter what you offer. You know where that rings true? I'm going to tell you where that rings true. Anybody ever seen Maury? You ever seen Maury? That's that scripture right there. Some lady, I don't know who my baby father is. It could be Tyrone. It could be so and so forth. You know what I'm saying? And Tyrone come up there. Hey, yo, man, that ain't my kid, son. You know what I mean? That ain't my kid. So he go out there. He sit down. She's sitting there. Oh, and then Maury loves doing this. Oh, yeah, and by the way, we have Ronald here. And we're here with Ronald. And Ronald jealous. Just like Proverbs said. What Ronald do? And they start thumping, right? Should have read the Bible. I could have told you what would happen. Proverbs 10:19 says this. You will say the wrong thing if you talk too much. So be sensible and watch what you say. Anybody? Anybody ever talk just a little bit too much? But here's what I'm saying. The Bible accurately depicts life. The Bible accurately depicts who people are, who we are. And guess what? Its truths have not been disproven, for the third point. Its truths have not been disproven. The Bible has been around for centuries and still the best-selling book of all time. More than 6 billion copies have been sold in 2,000 languages. You know what? By this time, with all this technology we have, somebody should by now have figured out this thing is fake. I mean, really. All this time, all this technology, all these scholars and education and Harvard and Yale, somebody should have written a report that said, well, we come to realize that Jesus Christ just wasn't real. Sorry, guys. Just didn't happen. Down on the cross, rising from the grave, we have the body right here. It hasn't happened because Jesus rose from the cross. They know where the grave is at, but they can't find the bones. They can't disprove what the Bible has said. And year by year by year and decade by decade, the Bible continues to transform people's lives. And they still can't tear it apart. Oh, we can tear apart Mormonism, though. I mean, we can tear apart the Muslim faith. I mean, we can go into the faiths, and we can see where they started and so on and so forth, and we can disprove them. And so Christianity has yet to be disproven. Explain to me why why out of the disciples, 11 disciples, explain to me that at the point where you're about to die for Jesus died on the cross, he rose. They're saying to you, you're Peter, or, all right, look, man, this really didn't happen, man. He didn't rise from the cross, all right? Peter's like, yeah, he did. I saw him. Come on, Peter. He didn't rise from the cross, man. He didn't rise from the grave, did he? Yeah, he rose from that grave. I promise I saw him. Look, Peter, if you don't tell us the truth, we're going to hang you upside down and crucify you. Peter be like, you know what? Yeah. What had happened was he had came to us. You know what happened? Peter got crucified upside down. Some of the disciples were boiled in oil. Who's ever been faced with telling a lie? And then when the punishment was going to be really severe, you was like, okay, all right, I'll let you know what happened. Who's ever done that before? Like, it's about to get really, really bad, and you was like, I need to stop lying at some point. So why would these disciples lose their lives over a lie? Why would you get boiled in oil and hung upside down and crucified over a lie? Because it was real. That's right, man. Because it was real. Because if it was real, that means you're willing to die for it. If it's a lie, you're not willing to die for a lie. You want to die for something that's real. So my last point is this. If God is real, then this changes everything. Well, how does this change everything? If everything I said is true, then how does this change everything? The first thing is it changes how you perceive life. See, I went through this whole thing, and we talked about some scientific facts, and we talked about some common sense, and now you guys are like, you know, man, I had faith in God, and I was kind of secure because of my church thing, but wow, there's some evidence, and I got my testimony, and I got, wow. Now it changes how you perceive life, because now God is more than just a creation, something that we made up, something that's mystical and spooky that these crazy Christians in this church practice. No, now God makes the most sense. which means the way that we see life has to change now. Because now it's not, if I follow God, I must be crazy. Now it's that if I don't follow God, I must be crazy. With all this evidence in front of me, how can I not follow God? The way you see life has to change now. The way you the glasses that you have on, the things that you thought were cool, the things that you thought that you should be doing, the way that you saw your parents, the way that you saw school, now these things have to change. The way you saw your friends, now these things have to change. If God is really real, it has to change because he's there. He's there. It's not something that we made up, man. This is my Father. If God is real, second point, it changes how you live life. Life does not belong to you anymore. You know what, God? I realize that you're more than just something that my family and my parents do. You're more than just something that was conjured up. Wow, you really are real. My life has to change. Wow, the Bible is your word. It is your written word. It is the inspired word of God. Wow, I can't do life the way I did before. And for the last point, if God is real, how does this change everything? It changes who you're now becoming. It changes who you're growing into. Now, all of a sudden, I'm going through a transitional point in my life. It's me and my family and different things. You know what's so awesome about it? I really depend on God to say, God, whatever you want me to become, I'll become that. See, if your belief and your trust in God is shaky, it's hard to say that because you think you're giving up something to do God's will. No. You're actually giving up what God intended for you in the beginning to do something else. Now, all of a sudden, the godly path becomes the main path, and everything else becomes side roads. God is not a side road. God is not, I'm walking on the path of this life, and I just felt like, giving my life to Christ, so I'm going to go this way. No, that's not God now. Now that you have the evidence, now that you have the understanding, now that you felt God, now that God has done something in your life, now you understand, man, God is real. God is the main road. He is everything. Regardless of what I see and what I hear, regardless of what my friends say and what my teachers say, I have the evidence right in front of me. Wow, they are blind like the Bible said. Wow, these millions and millions of Christians across the world aren't crazy. So guys, as we go through this conference, I'm just going to wrap up right now. As we go through this conference and you continue to hear the messages, the music, the worship, all these different things that are happening. These are not just church things. When there's somebody up here playing a piano and singing to God, it's not just something that we do in church. When there's somebody up here talking about God, it's not just something that church people do in church. When somebody's encouraging you or they call you to the front, it's not just, I'm going to the front again, this is what they do in church. No, it's deeper than that now. Because now I realize, wow, God is real. Wow, we are right. Wow, we have the truth. Wow, those people are lost. God, I got to give you everything. I have to give you everything. If you're real, how does this change everything? I have to give you everything. Because if I don't, then now I'm living a life that I wasn't expected to live. Now I'm off the path. So I challenge you guys. You know God's real. Don't just believe in him. Belief is good. It's a great starting point. God wants your trust. He wants you to trust him with everything. He wants you to trust him. We didn't come from monkeys. And we're not here by accident. Before any of this was ever here, God existed. He has no starting point and he has no ending point.
He always was, always is, and always will be. And if that's a fact, then that must change everything. God bless you guys.